Yeah, let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
All
What we
right.
got today?
You got one? You want to start?
No, you start.
I
You got the list.
actually didn't even get your list. I put up a whole list up and then it was very one-sided, but all right.
Yeah, I know.
Um
Sorry, I'll go off the dome.
all right. Though so I had a list of I think it was like five
By
or
the way, this is a
six.
list of business opportunities, right? Like,
So I believe, let me look. One, two, three, four. Other than one of these, I'm sure all these exist, whether they're like super, super niche or maybe even offered as part of an ongoing service already. But
yeah,
one of these, I don't think it exists, not in this capacity. So yeah, most of these are businesses that already exist to some degree, but maybe are super niche, and just one is an idea that I think could do pretty well. So, first
okay.
one, I know this exists as part of a service for grooming vans, but I was thinking mobile nail trim business. I haven't
Yeah,
seen a specific mobile grooming. They offer this as part of the service, but I haven't seen anyone saying like, "Hey, like, can I reduce the all the costs that come with outfitting a whole van for grooming, right? Which is I don't know what the costs are, but I'm assuming it's way more than this versus just doing something super low tech, right? Like what like the clippers, I don't know, filing, maybe some pet insurance,
like a
uh
harnessing system if you need
yeah,
to
harness
secure
system,
them.
something to keep the dog chill, like a ventilation, AC, I don't know, nice little music in the background, right? You buy old, what was a used van cost?
Dude, honestly, like if you're niching down just into nail trimming, which is cool because like your time spent on doing it and like unless the dog is just absolutely nightmarish is so quick. Like some of the people I've seen like trim nails, especially for our dogs, like we do them now ourselves,
10
but they're
minutes?
like yeah, dude, some of them are like, especially if they get them secure and they're in like in an ideal scenario. So like with that being said, I would scrap the idea of a van and I would just do like a single cab pickup or something like long bed and just have everything. And you could even do a tonneau cover, but you would cut costs down way more, if you could be really quick and do that. You don't have to worry so much about heat, or you could even do like like an awning, a coverage, but like forgetting like the climate control stuff, just do
Yeah.
something that you could easily just pop up and like maybe you even have a pickup truck already. Like start simple, and then if you wanted to graduate into like a used van or something like that. Um, but yeah, I would start with even a more simple vehicle like that.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I see grooming vans all the time. Like people
Yeah,
are just not reluctant, but to go all the way to the grooming place versus just I can do my work at home. I have this van downstairs. They're gonna do the work for I don't know half hour. Actually, I've never actually personally used it. We just throw Shasta in the shower, and
yeah,
she's okay with it most of the time. It doesn't happen too often. But if I could, I actually had to take her one time. I think this was 4 or 5 years ago, and she was not happy. The environment, and I won't name the place, it's a known place, but the environment was go to the back room. There's maybe like 5 or 6 or 7 different dogs there, right? It's this kind of like metallic bed that they put her on top. They
hmm,
tie her up, right? And then the lady, she was actually very, very nice. She was doing the thing. I think there was maybe another one that was kind of distracting Shasta because the whole environment again was like very chaotic. But if you could do this in a van, one person, I don't know, maybe I don't think you need more than one person, but one person, super calming. You can stay there. You don't even have to leave the dog because it's like I said, it's not a full groom. It's 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on the dog, depending on how much work is done. You could probably charge anywhere from 40 to 80. You could have some add-ons like paw balm or ear cleaning, stuff like that, right? Maybe all the way up to 100. If you do, what is it? Not doing public math, but if you do, 10 to 20 of these on the high end or 5 to 10 on the low end, it's pretty good.
yeah. I mean, that's like, I mean, I think 40 to 60 for a nail trim would be crazy.
With the
Um,
no, with the add-ons, 40.
but yeah,
I
with the
mean,
add-ons, yeah,
I
yeah,
you have
yeah.
to
Because
drive,
I think
right?
when
It's
we
the
did it, there's a place
convenience.
we right, there's a place that we could walk to that was like $15 for nail trim, and then they were done like in 10 minutes,
Okay.
So, but I was like, okay, 15's like fine,
Yeah.
whatever. But I like the idea of the add-ons and stuff, like to keep it simple, like just like everybody, no one gets confused. Like you're just, it's nails are in the name, whatever. Like
Yeah.
you're just hyper focused on nail trims. I think that's a good one, and especially if it's a solo operator business, it's just like it's a little different than competing with dog walking. Like you are very niche, but I think like your ability to dominate the market and like in your local area or whatever is way greater. And you just go after like affluent neighborhoods too, who are just like they don't have the time. I would say probably have to be dogs like you and I would fit the bill
Hmm.
because we have dogs that are short haired, so don't go traditional groomers
Yeah.
really. Like we throw ours in the shower as well, and we do all the brushing and combing and stuff like that. So, but one of like it's really difficult. I've only recently gotten the confidence to be able to do their nails, and that's always been the only time we take them anywhere for grooming. So
Yeah.
I think you go after that, type of dog owner, be a little tough to like really distill that down into a neighborhood, like knowing all the short haired dogs. But like I think that would be a market that you could probably get because most of them get lumped into, if you have like a doodle or a husky or a shepherd, like they're getting groomed and nail trimmed at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Although nail trims sometimes can happen more frequently than a proper full groom. So
It's
I dig that.
and the other thing is if you do, which again, like this is going back to the van, um, that is your marketing. If you have a cool little brand, right? You come up with a cute name that's quirky and nice. You do some branding, I don't know, some long nails or some shit, right? And that's just on the side of your van. Like I remember I was talking to an owner operator of a pooper scooper company, and he was like, "We get so much business from the van itself, right? Like they have a
Yeah.
cool logo, there's a website or a phone number, and so many people find them through that because they're constantly in the neighborhood. So similarly for this, I think that could work really well.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Next one.
All right, let's. I should have actually started with this. Let's go for your favorite. Let's go for cats. All right.
Let's do
So
it.
I googled this a little bit. There are kind of built sets already for outdoor cat enclosures, right? Metal, wood. There's like a million different kinds, and you can go to Ace Hardware, I think, and all the different places, and you can buy those. But if you can assemble a kind of off the cuff, custom made catio, right? For people, and you can be known as the catio person, right? And it's just basic carpentry. Is that the word? Yeah,
Yeah.
carpentry. It doesn't have to be something insane, but I remember there's a guy I was following. I forget his name, but he's out of in the UK, and he just built these really cool, elaborate dog houses, indoor dog houses, and hundreds of thousands of followers, and I'm sure it drives a ton
I
of
know exactly who you're
business.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forget the name, but just a ton of business, right? You could do that for cats. If you could do a similar thing, but instead of indoors, outdoors, and instead of dogs, you do cats, right? I think
Hmm.
not only first of all, I'm thinking of this more social media first. This is like a very social media first. This is unlike the what we just talked about where it's like the neighborhood sees it, right? This is social media first. This would just, especially in the cat community, which is extremely popular. If you go on Reddit, there's like a gazillion different cat subreddits. It's literally endless. So if you could do something really cool with cat enclosures, maybe leading out from the house or outdoor stuff or from the penthouse to to wherever between. I saw a one, I remember it was like between two neighbors where like the cats can just go in because they were friends. So there's a million different ways, very social media friendly. And, depending on how big or small, you can charge anything from a few $100s to many, many thousands.
Yeah. I think you come up with like one or two designs, based on like some market research, or if you, especially if you're a cat owner, you would know exactly what you would want in one of these. And like you have like one like a size for each. And that's like the tough thing with like having done a custom fabrication business before, of course, like way different scale than what we're talking about. It's always the toughest part is like if everybody has like you know a bespoke design that they want, or they have all these different like one-offs that they want, then your prices can swing wildly and your lead times can swing wildly. So I think if you keep it really simple, and do like a lot of prefabbed ones, it could help. And honestly, like what I would do if I were doing this is I would just go straight to Facebook Marketplace. Like just post on Facebook Marketplace. You could definitely book in that with some social media and stuff like that. But if you're starting small and like you can only deliver locally, like it's good to get your name out and people to be interested. But you want to be able to turn that into customers and revenue. And I think through Facebook Marketplace, like I've seen my brother bought a bull on Facebook Marketplace. Like
Oh,
you could
a bull?
literally, yeah, a bull
An actual
that
bull?
has impregnated all of his cows on his land and provided calves. Yeah, literally pulled up on a trailer in a bull. So all I'm saying is like Facebook Marketplace is just it's crazy. Like, and I think there's a big market there, that you could plug into and immediately get revenue and also get feedback and like understand what works, what doesn't before you scale and try to take it anywhere else. But I do like that one. That one's, and especially with all the numbers that just came out where it's like a
Hmm.
23% jump in cat ownership from
Yeah.
2023 to now, which is crazy. I'm sure people are very keen on finding other ways to, like, cats need exercise too. They need enrichment, all that kind of stuff that we see in the dog space. So that's a good one.
Yeah, even you could do like some indoor stuff. It's not, for apartments, it's not as big and elaborate, but I I I think I look at this almost a little bit differently than mass manufacturing. Like this is almost like an artist, right? Like this is
Yeah,
my
totally.
this is my this is my artwork, and I do these amazing things for cats that are both beautiful and functional. I also see a lot of like a time, like I love time lapse stuff, like like when you see like someone like go into the garden and then they'll start, and I'm like, all right, I have to see this through, right? I have to know what's at
Yeah.
the end of this. How did this husband make this beautiful garden for his wife, or how did this guy fix up his or the guy that does the not the mowing the lawns, but with the what's that machine called? Um, for the
A lawnmower,
landscapers, not the lawnmower. The
stump grinder,
Is that what it's
weed
called?
eater,
Weed.
weed
Yeah, yeah.
eater.
So he goes
Yeah,
to
yeah.
people and he just knocks on the door like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'll do your garden. Like this is
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
free. I just shoot the content." And I watched the whole thing. It's so
Yeah.
satisfying. This is the same thing, right? I could definitely see if you do content like this, people will eat it up.
Yeah. I agree. It's endless. And the cat world is, cultish. So it's like you get a couple people like really liking it, your ability to have that be shared is significantly greater. Um, Sweet, I like that one. Let's go to the next one.
All right, let's do. So this one, there's a couple of ways you can slice it. The way I thought about it, and again, like there's two ways here, and maybe one overlaps over the other, but essentially, I was thinking of canine, kind of like scent competitions, right?
Mm.
Where
Hmm.
you hide something and there's a competition to see, how like what dog finds it, and there's a prize, and you could do it in different landscapes, different places, different things that are hiding, like entry level, maybe like higher up. So kind of like not a league necessarily, but a competition that you can do, and you could do this in different places, and obviously you charge people. But then like I think there's also like a different way where you could do classes and kits and kind of online
Yeah,
of how to train your dog. What do you think about that on
I
both
like it.
ends?
Yeah, there's definitely people who do this. There's some really good businesses that do this, like do local classes, competitions, sell kits where there's like different scents that you can, and they kind of teach you how to train them on detection and then like how to gradually build into making it, more difficult to find and stuff. I think it's great. I actually just saw a really cool video where this guy was out in like the forest, and I think he had like an Australian shepherd
Yeah, they're the
who's like a
best.
cancer detection, right? And
Yeah.
he literally had a fingernail that had, it was like a tiny fingernail, loose
Hmm.
fingernail, gross, but had the cancer scent on it. And he went over to a puddle, dropped it in the puddle, walked all the way back to his dog, like gave it the command to go, and it was wild just to watch the dog go everywhere, and then eventually, of course, land on
Hmm.
the fingernail in the puddle, which was just like, I don't know, like in a whole forest full of scents. So I think a lot of it is like shock and awe too, just like seeing these dogs being able to detect stuff. Like I even um shared on my my dog's TikTok like what I do, for instance, kind of in a similar vein. So I would be interested in something like this if I knew of one locally that was holding classes or something. But what I do is like when it's so hot like it is now, and I can't, if I do the morning walk and they need something in the afternoon, I take toys and I put them on one side of the house and I hide it,
Hmm.
and then I let them go, and they just basically have to use their nose and figure out and use their eyes and like find the toy, and I do that for like 15 minutes. But this would be cool to go next level, and like for them to be able to like actually see sense. Like for me, this would be like a gamification of sorts, like a
Yeah,
challenge that I would be interested in. And it's also, the science is out there. Like you don't have to run your dog ragged for an hour straight to get,
exactly.
that satisfaction or that all that energy out. Like mental enrichment is very, very powerful. And so I think this can play into the science well. It's visually compelling when it's very challenging, like that example I gave. Um, yeah, and honestly, like, do you have some numbers for? Okay, I see. Yeah, you have 40 to 75 a class, 150 for party packages. The DIY kits.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you could totally. I think this could be, yeah, especially doing classes like training classes. Again, this is about niching it, right? Like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of training classes. I see them all over Austin all the time, like 20 dog owners at once.
Yeah.
I think this would be a lot more interesting. And it's like, it's so specific that I think you'd have a lot of people come back, or you could like keep it could be very sticky because there's always a new sense that you could try, new challenges, stuff like that. So
And I like this
I like
even
this one.
more than like what's that? We saw this recently, or maybe not recently, but I think earlier this year, the Enduro Run, right? Was that the name? Where it's just kind
Hmm.
of like a Spartan race, but with your dog type of
Oh
event.
yeah, cane, like there's like canocross
Yeah.
is like the sport that's more like for running, but they do like obstacle based ones too.
So I'm not shitting on it. I'm just less of a fan of dog competitions, whether it's the sleds in Alaska or this or I don't know, even some of the AKC stuff. But this one I like because there's not again echoing your point, mental enrichment. It's not like very heavy on the cardio, and it's not like super intensive. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to run through these obstacles and do all this shit and run all these miles. It's like, it's not too much as far as physical endurance goes. It's really more about the mental enrichment, and I kind of look at it as, the I saw this video once of this. I think it was like a police dog. It was probably a Belgian Malinois, and they had to find a suspect, and this was like in a college campus, right? So this person was like all the way on the other side of the college campus, and they left a couple of like scent trails, like maybe like a jacket or maybe like you said like a fingernail or something. And this person was in the like they started on one side, it was like open space, and on the other side it was, I think this person was like in a car, like in their car in a parking lot. And obviously they go and the dog finds the person, right? Just mind blowing, right? And I feel like that's the military version of like how we like to do like the Spartan race and all these weekend warrior
Yeah.
type activities to feel like,
Aspirational. It's
yeah,
aspirational.
that's that version for dogs. It's like people
Yeah.
want their dog to be able to do anything like. So I just like this all around, and I think it's very niche, but I actually see this potentially becoming a little bit more mainstream than maybe some of these others.
It is. It is becoming more popular. People are very more like the search for like nose work
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, it's trending up. There's definitely more interest in it because people are realizing um that there's other ways besides like literally physically running with your dog or swimming or hiking, whatever. Um, like these things are like enrichment is just having a moment, and I don't think it's ever gonna go back in the other direction. So I do like that one. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
All
Let's
right,
should we do the
let's
last one?
do
Which actually like
yeah, let's do one more.
we'll piggyback right off what you said about swimming. I was taking my dog out for a walk the other day, and I ran into a neighbor, and she was telling me that she's about to take her dog to the swimming pool. So, we chatted a little bit, and she said, I think they charge her dog $30 or $40. It's 5 dogs per session, and they get between 45 minutes to an hour. Right? So start running the math, start looking at different places, and there's some places that offer it. It's not a ton of places, because I think some places are just maybe uncomfortable with dogs in the pool. So they either have to allocate a specific area, for the dogs, or they just build the place with dogs in mind. Um, but regardless, it's still pretty niche. There's like some places that offer for physiotherapy, which is a little bit different, right? Those
Hmm.
those there was a place I remember in New York, and you've probably seen the videos. They're like in this little aquarium, and they're
Yeah,
they're on
underwater therapy,
yeah. So
like a
that
treadmill.
exactly. But this is just for fun. This is like just going to swim with the homies, but for dogs. What do you
Yeah.
guys? I'm sure you guys have that in Austin too, right?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's places that offer like relief because that is a bit like right now, we're like already in the 90s every day pretty much. And it's only going to get hotter.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest concerns in Austin is blue algae. So like all the public waters pretty much are unswimmable for
Really?
dogs because there's like blue algae blooms, which are extremely toxic and often lead to fatalities.
Okay.
So it's a big problem. Yeah. And so a lot of like we're even like very nervous about letting our dogs kind of go anywhere. There's a couple exceptions. You kind of got to go out of the city a little bit to find that. And then we have like a oversized, hot tub in our backyard that we've
Yeah.
used forever for them and stuff. But it is like it's a big problem because it's just, again, it's like it's so hot. Like the summers are really difficult for dogs here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know there's Sniff Spot, which is like the Airbnb, for
That's
for
backyards,
dogs. If you
right?
get a yeah. But like if you have a pool and you're okay with it, the thing is like dog
Yeah, that's
hair gets
tricky.
everywhere, clogs up filters. So like it is tricky in terms of like how the offering is. And
Mm-hmm.
like so there is like a nice entry where you don't need like a full on proper pool. Anything to kind of cool them down is super helpful. So if you could find like the in between, but like on a full on swimming pool with a filter and a pump, and then you go all the way down to um like a kiddie pool. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you could find somewhere in between, like there's cowboy pools here. I don't know if you've ever seen those.
What's that?
Those are kind of popular, but they also have pumps, and like it could be a little dicey, but in terms of
If
maintenance
you're
and stuff.
if you like the idea, what would you do now? Because right there's a couple options, right? You lease a place, right? You go, I don't
Yeah.
know, you that already has a pool, or you go lease a place and you build a pool, or you potentially go to maybe a couple of local spots in the neighborhood, and you tell them, hey, like this is the business. I'll cut you in on however many, and whatever issues you have in the pool, I'll fix it, stuff like that. How would you go about it if you had a you know small budget, but you just wanted to see if this is a business that would work?
I would try to find something as close into town as possible that's not like land that's basically not being developed or used, and like maybe try to do something there. I'd probably start above ground. I probably like just to test and see if people are even interested in this. Like, if your dog wants to come play and like you don't have to drive 20 minutes outside of town or 30 minutes because it's definitely going to be longer than probably 20 or 30
Yeah.
minutes. But like I would probably do something like that, just approach um a landowner in that capacity and just be like, hey, we'll want to do like a pop-up here for the next 30 days or 45 days, and like it's definitely like I'm kind of glossing over some of the negotiation parts. But that would be my first attempt, is like, let me just find somewhere that's close. It's a plot of land that's like nothing's being used on. I can place something on there. I don't need to do anything to the land really. Stuff like that. I'm sure you'd have to carry some form of liability insurance to do
Mm-hmm.
something like this. So that's a consideration, but like least barrier to entry in that sense. I would say secondarily, maybe going to places like commercial places that already have like big open lots, and then just doing like a pop-up where you're gonna like have some of these little cowboy pools, maybe partner with like a cowboy pools, or like some form of a kiddie pool, just to like, you're going to bring in dog owners. They can maybe it's a restaurant, like some of the restaurants and stuff, especially down south in Austin, have like really, really big yard, like exteriors that people hang out at. And a lot of people just don't really hang out a ton outside when it's super hot. But you can maybe bring some people in if like they got their dog out of relief, they're getting a drink, stuff like that. So it's like a lot of testing concept. And then if you have enough runway and demand, it's like then maybe take the next step to go and try and do your own thing or build it into like a private dog park. Like we're starting to see pop up, all across the country, members only. And that could be like an added feature or an amenity,
Mm-hmm.
is having the pool, especially if you're doing something down south. Like it's almost a given.
With the heat.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I think you'd have to have some kind of edge, in my opinion. Like you already own land, something like that. Like I think the barrier to entry for me personally would be a little too high with this one. Um,
Yeah, this is
just because like you
more
need
high
that
end
real
niche.
estate. Yeah. 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 But it is, I could tell you right now, like I know for a fact, like anecdotally, like there's a lot of people, including ourselves, that are always looking because our dogs love the water.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. If you guys want us to do more of these, just let us know in the comments. We're going to try to do them, I don't know, once every 2 weeks or so. Like I said, not regularly, but we'll definitely try to do them more. And go check out The Wolf. It's the fastest growing pet industry newsletter out there. So if you want more information about the pet industry and stories about founders and everything else, go check us out.